What's up, everybody? Today we are sitting in a 2022 Jeep Wrangler 4xe, and I am going to teach you how to use the adaptive cruise control system in this car. So we'll go over the buttons of operation first. And first of all, it should be noted that you actually have standard cruise control and adaptive cruise control, and Jeep puts controls for both on here, which is a little bit uncommon. So if you push this one that just kind of looks like a little clock, that's a speedometer is what that's supposed to be. That just gives you the standard cruise control, so we're not talking about that today. We're going to turn that off. If you want to use your adaptive cruise control, push this button, the speedometer with the car in front of it. That will turn the adaptive cruise control system on. Now, once we get it out on the road and get it up to a speed that we like, we will push set to set the speed, and then you use the plus to increase your speed, use the minus to decrease your speed. These buttons right here are to change your following distance. So this will make the following distance longer, this will make the following distance shorter. The graphic the Jeep uses is kind of small for this, but it shows you it's going to be kind of in the center of your screen. Shortest following distance, longest following distance. If you are in a like freeway with heavy traffic, stop and go traffic, I always recommend using the shortest following distance just to give people less of an opportunity to cut you off. So that is the basic controls of it. Let's get it out on the road and show you how it works. All right, so we've got it out on the street. We're going to push that button to turn the adaptive cruise control system on. We're going to push set to set our speed. The speed is set to 40 miles an hour, which just so happens to be the speed limit on this particular road. So you'll notice now that it's set, that little car graphic right there has turned green. And it is not locked on to any car in front of me yet because I have it set to the speed limit and nobody drives the speed limit in Southern California. But when it does lock onto a car, we'll get a little car icon and I can see traffic ahead of me starting to slow down. So there we go. Now it's locked onto the car in front of me. The car is now braking. It's doing that on its own accord. So we are locked onto this vehicle in front of us, and now it's speeding up a little bit because traffic is speeding up, and now it's going to slow down again. These are the kind of conditions where the adaptive cruise control does its best work. I normally use it on the freeways in medium to heavy traffic. I like to do it on surface streets for these demonstrations just because it'll bring us to a complete stop, which we are about to do. So, boom, the car just brought itself to a stop. Now, the problem with the Wranglers is because it doesn't have an electric parking brake, it cuts the cruise control off once you've been stopped for a couple of seconds and prompts you to put your foot on the brake. So once traffic gets moving again, you push RES, resume, and now I do not have my foot on the gas or the brake, and we are accelerating, and we are going to accelerate up to 40 miles an hour because that's what the cruise control is set to. And it does show that we are locked on to the car in front of us. So we just cruise along. I'm not sure if some other Jeeps, like maybe a Grand Cherokee or something, if they have the electronic parking brake or the electric parking brake, it may stay stopped longer of its own accord without prompting you to put your foot on the brake. This is the first Jeep I've driven with adaptive cruise control, but I've driven a large variety of other cars with adaptive cruise control, and typically the ones with the electric parking brakes will keep themselves stopped for a little longer. I don't know, I don't fully understand why that is. I guess the auto manufacturers, oh, I missed a Jeep wave, sorry. Missing that Jeep wave threw me all off. So if you have a car, a Jeep with an electric parking brake, it may stay stopped longer. Other vehicles I've driven with manual parking brakes, like this one has, do a similar thing to where it'll prompt you to put your foot on the brake real quick. And if it has an electric parking brake, they will usually keep themselves stopped a little longer. I think that the auto manufacturers do that as sort of a CYA type of a situation, so they don't get sued if somebody wrecks one of these things while they're driving it. It should be noted that the adaptive cruise control is not any kind of self-driving. In this particular Jeep, it has no way to affect the steering. There's no like lane keeping assist in this car. All it does is maintain a distance from the car in front of you. And if you adjust the distance, like I'll make it longer, I'll set it to its longest distance right now. It will be a little bit longer, but that's a variable distance. And see, this is a perfect example. When you make the distance longer, guys like that cut you off. So I'm going to resume because I had to hit the brake because he got in front of me very politely. And we are coming up to a stop again. And the car in front of us is stopping, and this car is slowing down. And that's funny. It even leaves a longer distance when you're stopped, when you have it set to a longer distance. And it has canceled itself. So now I have to put my foot on the brake and bring it to a complete stop. And I am actually going to push this button and decrease my following distance again because I don't like that long following distance. If you're out on a long drive on the highway and it's an open road and there's not very many people around, you can do that. So once again, once we've stopped, we just hit resume, and that resumes the adaptive cruise control. And we are cruising. And that's pretty much how you use the adaptive cruise control in a Jeep. It's a relatively basic system, but it does work. It does the job. A couple of things to keep in mind. First of all, like I said, it's not self-driving. You have to pay attention to the road that you're on, to your surroundings. And if you feel like the car's not stopping, just hit the brake. It's just like regular cruise control in that if you do hit the brake, you've canceled it and you have taken control. And I have to hit the brake now because it canceled itself. And the other thing I always mention is keep in mind what type of vehicle you're following. The example I always use is a flatbed truck with nothing on the bed. Just kind of keep an eye on that. Make sure that you're locked on to the back of the vehicle and not the back of the cab. And if you're following some kind of weird trailer with nothing on it, same thing, just be alert as far as what the car's doing. These systems are very smart, but they're not infallible, and it is still up to you to drive the car and make sure that you don't get involved in an accident. But if you do have a Jeep with this system, I highly recommend you use it again, especially in traffic on the freeway. It really does make life less stressful in that sort of like, 2 miles an hour, 8 miles an hour, 4 miles an hour, 12 miles an hour, 5 miles an hour, 15 miles an hour. Like, it does all that for you, and it's so much nicer. But if it's stopped too long, it will turn itself off. But luckily, we're moving again, so I'm just going to hit resume. And resume we do. So that's my video on Jeep Adaptive Cruise Control. It's pretty easy to use. Again, I recommend trying it out, but just always make sure you're paying attention. I am able to do it while I'm holding a camera because I'm a professional YouTuber who makes anywhere from $700 to $800 a month off of YouTube videos. And let me tell you, folks, that's a lot of money right there. Anyways, thanks for watching. Have a fantastic day. Leave me a comment if you have any questions, and I will do my best to answer them. Thanks again. Bye-bye.